Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Lake Geneva Studio, as we talk about Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop gaming. Most trips blur, but every now and then, we especially took one less than a month ago, one that kind of sticks with you for reasons that you didn't expect. And a year ago, before we even approach like the going really in depth about going to GaryCon, what was your initial idea of what this convention could be, with trying to not eschew what we know of it now?
Yeah, the conventions that I have been to in the past, namely Gen Con in Indianapolis and NewtCon in Omaha. Oh, well, Council
And
Bluffs.
then we went to
And then we went to
All-in-One Gaming Expo.
Yep, we went to that. I was expecting,
And I guess we've been to, I think we've both been to OCon.
oh yeah, Comic-Con. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as
That-
guests,
I wasn't-
not as guests or visitors.
Yeah, I wasn't including that one because I knew that this was more gaming than something else.
But
so-
yeah, we've been to other cons. So
we've been to other conventions. So in my mind, I was expecting something between Gen Con and NewtCon.
I expected a much bigger Nuke Con, which kind of what it really did feel.
Yeah.
But that's also because I'd heard from like multiple people in the Omaha community of like, if you go to GaryCon, this is kind of
Yes.
they're like, NewtCon's a very tiny version.
Yeah, NewtCon is very, very small.
Even though we had our record-breaking year of like 1,000 here in Omaha, and then GaryCon was only 4,000, which it was still huge.
Which is still very, very large, especially for the Lake Geneva convention. Wait, wherever we were at, the Lake Geneva Hotel and Spa or something like that. It stretched out the whole thing. That was crazy.
And then before we went, I know I'll let you think a little bit, but what do you think this trip was going to be about? For me, I knew in my mind from the get-go, once I had it set in my mind, and I started seeing kind of the guest list unfold of who was going to be there. It was trying to go and shake hands with as many industry people as I could, have the organic opportunity of, besides, being that dork and, have you listened to my podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to actually just talk to people and hopefully organically bring it up. There are a couple of people, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to meet that I did and offer them to come on the podcast. Primarily Kelsey Dion of Shadow Dark. She's just too busy.
Oh, no.
And she was always surrounded.
That is not surprising at all.
And Luke told us on his interviews, like, she is just so busy, but if you want an interview, I can try and get you one. And it's more one of those things, like, if I really wanted it, I would ask him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, I want the opportunity to do it myself, because I am that type of person.
Yeah, you want to pitch yourself, and you want to be your voice asking it, not somebody else's. Yeah, which I can respect, obviously. For me, I really didn't. I kind of went into this really. Let's just see what happens. Especially when we started talking and we got our badges and everything, and then we started like signing up for events, and you really kind of hit home to me that this is all about gaming. That's a vast majority of what's going to happen is people are going to be playing games. So that kind of did. I went, okay. And then also knowing who we were going with, we had an entire gaming group that pulled the trigger and got badges for the whole dang thing.
Josh, who he plays with us, but isn't like I do consider him a gamer, but I don't consider him a full-fledged.
He is more video game and computer on the video and computer side of it. He is relatively new to like tabletop.
But even Tove or Ronnie, your wife, and then like you and me, I do consider us kind of full-fledged tabletop gamers.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I do consider Chase hybrid. I do consider
Yes.
Vicky, I guess, casual.
Yes.
And I
That's
consider
a good
Josh
ways.
maybe two steps between Vicky and Chase.
Yes, I would agree with that. Okay, yeah,
So
I
so
can see that.
that is the setup of the people that we're coming with.
Yes. So I knew right away that
Oh,
oh
and by the way, for anyone listening, if you want a really smart idea that saves a lot of money, uh, go get a B&B and rent it out with all your friends. Because
that was awesome.
we paid $250 for 5 nights.
Yes,
We paid
and
$50 a night each.
yeah, it was and that was an awesome
It
house.
was 30 minutes away, but
It,
it also gave you a chance to, like, if you're in a hurry, it gave you a chance to kind of wake up, kind of focus,
yeah,
and then you're at the con.
yeah, it gave you that time to mentally prep to where if you were
No.
staying at the convention, like in that Holiday Inn that was right there, or at the Lake Geneva Grand, you wake up, you walk outside your door, you're at the con. I mean, we were literally walking down
I
hallways.
don't think I'd, unless I was like a more to do person in the community, I don't think I'd want to actually stay at the hotel.
Uh, honestly, thinking about it now that I've done both, with as far as conventions go, the Airbnb was a lot better. I think that was a lot better of an experience.
I felt, despite it was a 30-minute gap,
Yes.
and that was a little bit much driving there at night.
Yeah, but me going into it, I realized very quickly that I needed to have at least something going on every day. And we did that with a lot of panels.
I was actually, in hindsight, I was very, very I actually enjoyed the panels more than I
Yes.
did gaming.
Yeah, the panels were really interesting. They were more they
They
were more
were.
personal. They were more intimate.
It was a little weird to be in a hotel room,
Yeah, the very
but
yeah the very first one that I went to
none of them were
was
packed.
no. I went to a world building panel with Keith Baker, Stephen Picorni, and a couple other guys, and we were in a hotel suite
Same.
to where
All
the four panelists were at the kitchen table, and I remember I and my wife sitting on the coffee table. There were a couple of people in like easy chairs. There's people on a couch. And I was going, what is going on here? But while this is going on, these are some big names, some movers and shakers, and 10 feet from them, talking to them, and actually having real substantive conversations than just them reading off a script doing speaking points. That was really cool. Yeah. That was really
it was
awesome.
definitely a different feel.
Yeah.
I liked it,
Yeah.
but it was not something I was expecting.
No, I was not expecting that at all. Now the next day after that one, when I went to the panel with Lou Gygax, Dan Ayub, Justice Armin, that was more of what
That
I
was in their
expected.
main hall.
Yes, and that
Oh,
was
that was in their main kind of seminar hall.
Yeah, that was in the main seminar hall, and
'Cause
they had the table with the TVs, and there were rows and rows of chairs there.
Because
That was more what I expected.
I was in, when you'd asked me to come show you where those minis were, I was sitting in that hall listening to Mike Merles,
Yes.
Zeb Cook, who invented Planescape, as well as a ton of other things.
Oh yeah.
And Steve Sullivan, who made Indiana Jones the TTRPG back in the day, and then also worked for Wizards for decades. And it was moderated by somebody from Chaosium, a German lady. Well,
From Chaosium, really?
yeah, who's all kind of into. It was a good panel. And then,
That's interesting. All right.
yeah, it was a good panel. And I got to talk to Mike Merles a little bit after when he signed my book.
Nice.
And he's even more personable than I was expecting.
Yeah, I got to at the first panel when it wrapped up. I talked to Steve McCorney for a little bit, introduced myself because I was not able to be part of the interview that we had on the podcast. So I introduced myself to him, and I was like, "Hey, look, I'm the other co-host. Sorry I couldn't be there, but it was great having you on."
Did he at least recognize the name?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Okay.
he did. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know if no, I did have my. I had the. I think I had my Rowdy Petting Minis T-shirt.
It took him a second to recognize me or whatever, and
Mhm.
once I introduced my name, because I imagine he meets a
Oh, he
lot of
meets so
people,
many people.
and he
so many.
he's a very he's he's West Coast, and anyone that follows his page knows he's a very free spirited stoner. So I imagine, and he's
That's
very
fine.
ADHD,
Yeah, it's totally fine.
and you could tell.
Yeah. So I talked to him for a little bit, and then
I think I teased a couple people. He's the human personification of a cat, in my opinion.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. But then one of the highlights of the trip happened for me. I got to meet Keith Baker.
Yeah.
And I talked to him for a little bit.
Which I'm surprised you didn't get a selfie with him, or at least
I,
ask. You just didn't think of it.
to be fair, I just didn't think of it. I was talking to him, and I was so mad at myself that I couldn't find the Eberron book that I wanted in my collection. It must still be in a box somewhere. So I brought my 4th edition Eberron campaign setting book.
Okay.
That's fine.
You had a 3rd edition one. I take it.
Yeah. But
bring it next year. I'm sure. The plan would be to go again next year. I was thinking about doing Gen Con, but in all honesty, I don't want to go into the wave.
I've been to Gen Con
back in 2006, though.
Back in 06 when it was. It's crazy to say, it's bigger now.
Yeah.
The only way you would get me back to Gen Con is as a panelist or as a guest. I do not think I would want to go there as an attendee.
No.
Don't get me wrong, it was an amazing experience. I had a lot of fun, but it is huge.
So how many people back in 2006 do you think went?
10.
10,000? And that felt like a lot.
Maybe a little bit more.
Maybe 20.
Yeah, I think.
Per Google, because I just Googled it for anyone, last year's attendance was 72,000. That is the...
Okay, I gotta check now. How far was I for 06?
I have no clue, but I live in a suburb of Omaha. I live in Omaha, but I live outside the actual city. That is the size. That is the population of the town I live in, outside of Omaha.
2006 Gen Con Indy, 21,250.
Dang, 20. Okay.
Okay, cool. All right.
So something 3 times the size of now.
3 times. Okay, I was there. I went to Gen Con 06 with my original gaming group, and my original gaming group had been there before. So I was talking to my DM, Clint Krause. If you see this, shout out. You're an awesome dude. We were there day one, and he said, and we were in the attendance hall. We were in the main hall. We all got our badges, and he says, when those doors open, get ready because it's gonna be a toilet bowl of humanity, and it flushes. And I'm like, what? All of a sudden, all this fanfare starts, and here comes Darth Vader with like 30 members of the 501st Legion, all in full kit. And they come down, and the stormtroopers all took points or posts at the doors. And they were there when the doors opened. They were the ones checking badges. They would check our badge, move along, move along. So cool. I get what Clint was talking about. It was just that swell of humanity and that mass of bodies going through those doors. I can only imagine that's what rush hour in the subways feel like in New York. And that was with 21,000. I can only imagine 70.
Yeah. Unless I had the money to do it, and because I am friends now with Michael at the Weather Dragon, and he goes there for his tables, I'd go help him work the booth and all that, and then explore as long as I got to explore on one of the days.
If Camaro wants to do something, I would help out there. Yeah, something like that.
But no, otherwise, I just it's a little too big for as a small or medium small town guy from Nebraska, Omaha.
Nebraska is nowhere considered a medium town.
But I mean, city. The population of the local Omaha area is 1.1 million, and then the small suburb, but then the suburb I live in is about 70,000.
So yeah, the suburb you lived in goes. Yeah. So yeah, it was really cool that it was, because that's what I was expecting, 21,000. but we went to GaryCon 4. So
It was still crowded.
it was still crowded, but that was the venue.
Yeah.
That venue, I don't think that venue was
The only
designed to handle that much people. But they still did a good job. You know, the map could have been better.
the map could be better, and or I guess the parking situation wasn't bad. It was the notification of like, this is how you pay for parking.
It was not. It wasn't explained enough to where if someone wasn't expecting it, they knew what to do.
They needed.
There were QR codes everywhere, but like, and then there were signs that says remember your license
So
plate
yes,
number.
I did get a parking ticket the very first day.
Well,
of
both
GaryCon.
both our vehicles did.
Yes.
So yeah, but it was like the QR code should have said you need to pay for parking. Do it here. You will need your license plate number. Looking back on it, oh, that's what that meant. Okay, cool. And it worked every day since then. Well, I can't say that because there were some people that the QR code and the website wasn't working for them, and they end up getting parking tickets anyway. But that's between them and the hotel. So there was that. But
the parking ticket was only $5 more in a day than what the thing was, so it wasn't a break or lost thing. I don't think it goes on your record.
And that's the thing. I was talking to Josh. I was like, "Is this enforceable? Like, are they gonna go and send a $15 parking ticket to collections? Are you gonna get a warrant? Because I don't think because it's private property. The police aren't gonna come in and tow your car. Well, I mean they could. They could call the police, but it's not gonna be like you're getting booted.
No, and on the ticket it was saying like one day is this, 2 days is this, 3 days is this.
After a week, it was like
double.
Yeah. So yeah, it went up like a couple of bucks. So I'm like, I just kind of sat there and went, how enforceable is this ticket? Now, granted, if you're there and you're there overnight and you're not supposed to be, they'll probably call the police and have you towed. But it's not like they're gonna, you've been here 15 minutes and didn't pay for parking. Obviously, you didn't get towed. So it's just, But yeah, there's no points in your license, and as long as you got it taken care of, no big deal.
Is there anything about the trip though, like that didn't go as you thought it would? I'm trying to think. It's like there's plenty of things that didn't go as I thought they would, but they weren't anything bad. I did not. I'll say one positive thing. Just because Vicky and Chase seemed like they were so adamantly, I'm not playing any games. I'm just there to kind of walk around.
Yeah.
I did not actually expect us to actually sit down and play games together.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of cool.
There.
Yeah, we actually sat down we went to the board game library.
You guys played Star Wars kind of while I was catching my breath.
Yeah, because you were
having a hot dog.
You were pinging around, doing everything you could to meet people and to network and to see these like really big names, which is amazing. So yeah, the five of us sat down and played, five of us sat down and played Star Wars Imperial Assault. I played the good guys. However, sad to say that the Empire did lose the fight. Those filthy rebels won.
I did not fully understand all the rules of the game.
I didn't either.
From what I could see, that Wookiee was very overpowered.
That is my view. The players, the rebels are extremely overpowered. It took because it was 4 rebels against 3 stormtroopers, an E-web shooter,
a probe
droid, and an officer. All the 3 stormtroopers and the E-web gunner all took on the Wookiee, and all got destroyed. And I'm kind of went, what? So yeah, that Wookiee was extremely overpowered in my opinion. But whatever, we had fun. But no, the rebels won.
We also got to play
a really bad. We didn't even get to play the game because we were halfway. We got done with the rules in this set. We were like, no, we're not playing this game.
Yeah, Black Friday, which is some old 80s looking game that just
about the stock market crash.
Yeah, and we already deal with enough real life financier stuff that
we're done. We're out of this.
Not getting too much into politics, but I don't want to deal with financier stock stuff just because I hear about it daily on social media.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. Then we played Dice Throne.
Yes.
Yeah, Dice Throne.
Which is fun for the half game we played.
Yeah, that was cool.
We each had
We,
our
we,
little
we had
things
the
kind
we
of
had the
going.
bounce. Yeah.
I went and checked out the head of Troll Lord Games talking with one
Oh
other
yeah, yeah,
dude,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're talking about Castle Zygag, which is their IP that they got from Gary Gygax, just because Steven and Gary were friends. Kind of towards the end, and he picked up and bought a lot of
Mm.
stuff that Gary made, such as
Oh yeah,
Castle
all of his yeah.
Gygax.
All of his old papers and stuff. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is really cool. Oh
and
yeah,
they
Gooey Cube was there.
Gooey
I
Cube.
talked to them for a bit because
There was a younger fellow there that had kind of a little bit of a goatee
mm-hmm,
and slick back. I was trying to figure out who he was, because Friday night when I stayed late,
mm-hmm.
because did we play Friday or Saturday? We played
We
Friday.
played Friday because you were gonna be busy Saturday.
Yeah, so Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday night. I stayed late, and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night I played a game of Shadow Dark with Michael, the Weather Dragon.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. He's an amazing dude, and just like he is over the internet, no change in personality. He's
Nice.
just straight, blue collared, the type of person I like to hang out with.
Yeah.
And then there was the guy from Bard's Tavern. That younger guy from
Gooey
Gooey
Cube.
Cube
Yep.
was sitting there as well, and I don't know his name. Unfortunately, I've been trying to figure it out since.
Mm-hmm.
I was very sad because, and then
I'm terrible with names,
we
so.
also who was there was James from Tabletop Misfits, which is
Oh yeah, yeah.
who's supposed to come on this podcast back in the fall, and I gave him a little bit of heck of.
Hey.
Well, I was supposed to come on his, or he's supposed to come on mine, or vice versa, and then something with his daytime job came up with
Ah,
training, and he got stuck, and then I never heard anything back
that
from
that
him.
that can got kicked down the road, and then yeah.
And we were talking about it, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, we were supposed to do this or whatever," and then like the daytime job happened. Then I friendly jabbed him. It's like, "Yeah, how long's that train taken, by the way?"
Man, it's been like a year. What the heck, man? No, real life gets in the way of things.
No, no, and I respect that,
Yeah.
but I am older millennial, Gen X. And I've said this to all my coworkers that I do tease. It's like my show of affection is if I get along with you, I will be respectful and I'll do all this. But if I like you,
I'm gonna bust your
I
chops. Yeah.
am gonna bust your chops. And junior high, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit because that is the way I do
Yeah.
it. And anyone at our game table can
Oh yeah.
testify.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's all good.
The one thing that I was not expecting, I was expecting it to be a little bit more energy draining. It did not catch up with me till probably that final day.
Sunday, I think we were all just
Sunday,
done.
we went and kind of did
Yeah.
I went and met Mike Merles
Yep.
and got my book signed on Sunday.
Yep.
I said goodbye to Luke because he was doing the closing
He's
stuff,
doing closing ceremonies.
and
Yep.
I said, and then we kind of we went off, and then we did all our side quest stuff of doing the Mars Cheese Castle.
Yeah, went to the Marsh Cheese Castle, went to the Luke Gygax or the Gary Gygax
Greg's
plaque.
house.
Got our
I did
dice
not get a
blessed.
picture of it, but we did get to see the Horticultural Hall, which was the original site of
Gen Con.
1.
Yep.
And then we also went to the Gary Gygax Memorial plaque, Lakeside.
Yep.
This episode's been brought to you by. So every GM here starts small from the experts when building a campaign, right? A tavern, a village, a few NPCs. But what if your players want something more without feeling overwhelmed? That's where Centurion 3D steps in. Their set brings over 30 build-out options, infinite ways to grow your world, infinite ways to grow your table. Centurion 3D Studios is for game masters who want to stay small but go big for their players. Alright, fellow hermits, Heimdall has just dropped their new dice line, and they come in a unique LED display box that makes them look like they're pulled straight out of a mythical ancient Viking vault. And the dice themselves, they're runic. Full Thark inspired font on the faces, but the wild part is they've got this iridescent finish that literally changes when the light hits them. It's like your dice are actually filled with magic. If you want to show off the dice in a totally new way, grab one of these 5 sets, if not all of them. There's something out of the 9 realms themselves. And then the other thing that I was thinking as we were kind of driving through the town, and then you see like Greyhawk and all this sort of stuff, is people write and do things that they know.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Greyhawk there at
Mm-hmm.
Geneva, just that landscape with the
Mm-hmm.
woods and the lake and just all that. And I'm like, I can see it now. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been there twice.
Yeah, you see the inspiration. Yeah.
I didn't catch it as much. I didn't get a chance to see it as much the first time I went through, but when driving around, looking around, and I did get lost twice, and because Google Maps was horrible.
Oh my, yeah. I
That
don't
that would
know.
be the other thing I have to complain about is to Google themselves is your mapping in Lake Geneva for whatever reason was sending us on some
The
backwards.
just the getting there. Like we were driving along, and I don't know how many times both Josh and I we had the vehicle GPS. He had his phone out, and then I had my phone out. All three of us were using GPS,
And it
and
bit
we
me.
still got like sent to weird places. How are the Bluebird Inn in Iowa City?
Odyssey, that was
That
so
was
good.
good. That was good. Bluebird Inn, Bluebird Diner, whatever it was. It was really good.
In hindsight, though, I don't feel there was anything that was kind of overhyped about the con itself.
No, but I think I was going in. I was told I was small attendance, 4,000, maybe less than 4,000. Okay, it's not gonna be that big. Primarily gaming. Okay, cool. Uh, there are going to be panels being put on, but okay,
I did
awesome.
not realize as many though.
Yeah, that was the interesting part. And
I don't. I think that was underhyped
yeah, that I did not expect that there was 5 or 6 panels going on every hour. It was constant.
to the point to where, like, if we go back, I do want to contact them and like, hey, I'd like to moderate
Yeah,
some of
that'd be
these
kind of
with
cool.
these
Yeah.
people and
Hmm.
record some of them.
Yeah, that'd
Because
be
that's
really
what the
awesome.
Ship of the Dead podcast does. He
Oh, really?
moderates his own podcast or his own things with the OSR people
Oh,
for
cool.
Pirate Borg and all that. And
All right. Yeah, that'd be cool. Absolutely. I would like to go back next year, if we can. But yeah, so that was underhyped, and then me being the mini painter of the group, I was really excited about the mini painting competition, and then the paint and take area put on by Army Painter. That was
which
really cool.
you took first in.
Yeah,
You won your first,
I won my first mini painting competition.
yeah, and won it.
Yeah, so I went. So it was paint and take. So I mean, I did not know what to expect. So I brought my paint kit that Oakley's Nerd Nook made for me. Check him out. He has a lot of really awesome real wood gaming uh, accessories, dice holders, dice trays. Well, we met him at NewtCon one year, and I said, "Hey, can you make me a paint kit?" And he was like, "Yeah, what are you looking for?" And so he and I worked together designing this thing to where I can take 10 bottles of paint, Roy G. Biv, black, white, brown, 4 paintbrushes, and a little collapsible camping cup for water, and all that. So I brought that with me. I brought all of the paints that I've gotten from either from Chimera or working with Dracoya. I brought all of that, not really knowing what to do. When I showed up there and I started asking questions, they supplied the mini, they supplied the paint, they supply the brushes. That's it. Okay.
I didn't have to bring anything.
Okay. I still did, but okay, whatever. So I showed up, and so they walked me through the whole process, and I said, okay, cool. You go to this booth over there, and there's 3 tables, folding tables full of just pre printed minis that I don't think they've been primed. So I kind of chalked that up to part of the challenge.
Yeah,
And so they had everything from just typical knights to they had a big like rat monster that was
that Josh
maybe
painted,
that Josh painted.
and Josh did a good job. I
He
think
did.
he
He did.
honestly, he could have took honorable mention.
I think so. And the thing is, that was his second attempt. He originally painted it a completely different way. And then he was like, I don't like that, and then he redid it. So yeah, no, he did a really good job. I'm really proud of
I
how
think
he
if
did.
he like put some effort into mini painting, he
He'd
could
have
compete.
Yeah, he'd have yeah, absolutely. So so I submitted everything, got everything done, and I was there maybe 2.5 hours. We were there maybe 2.5 hours, and So I got
Which
everything.
was there a time limit for that?
No, uh, the only time limit was that the mini for the competition had to be submitted by 2 p.m. on Saturday,
And you could not take it from there.
and it had to be there. Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, you could not walk off with it. So okay, cool, whatever. So I got mine done, and I was using some stuff that I learned in previous painting attempts, like how to do like snakes, because I ended up picking
A llama or
a lamia, so a snake lady, but she also had wings,
yeah.
and I was like, okay, sounds good. I've done both snake scales and I've done wings on previous pieces, so I was thinking, sure, I'll just try that out. And the snake lady did not have any texture whatsoever on her tail.
No,
It
it
was
was
just
like
it was a
smooth.
gray tube essentially,
I
and I
think
went, that ain't gonna fly.
no, and I think that's what, in my personal opinion, of like knowing art, I think that's what set you apart from everyone else, is they saw that that was all put on
That was
freehand.
free, and so I used my phone and I looked up
A di-
snake patterns,
yeah, and you
and
looked up like a diamondback.
the one that popped out was the diamondback rattlesnake. And I went, okay, cool. That's what I'm going to do her tail as, diamondback rattlesnake. And so I ended up doing the two-tone, paler yellow on the belly, and then the darker yellowish tan on the
Yeah.
back. And then I got the dark browns and the light browns and the diamond patterns and
Yeah,
all of
because
that.
initially I just told you I think you should do the belly a lot lighter,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the top maybe, or the medium one tone, and maybe the top
Mm-hmm.
another darker tone. Then you even took it way beyond anything I said, just because I was.
You were. I forget what you had a panel that you were doing. No, you were playing a game. I think whatever you were doing
Yeah.
on Saturday. I even like went in and I remember going, okay, I have to do this just for my own, just for me. They in army painter, I got I gotta give them a shout out. They did great. They had people working there that were running around. They were swapping out cups of water. So if your water got too dirty, like, hey, you need me to change that out? They went and they dumped it out and got you some fresh water.
Yeah.
They had all different types of paintbrush variations, and they had a very large amount of paint variety there. So they did an amazing job. So I even put on the different scales on the stomach, to where, how snake scales overlap. I tried to get that. I tried to paint on the seams of the scales and stuff like that. And then I remember thinking, okay, well, what am I going to do these wings as? And so I started looking up birds that belong in the desert, because that's where the diamondback rattlesnake comes
Yeah.
from. And so there was one of the subspecies of roadrunner. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but it's just black and white. So okay, but then I found one to where they had the wings spread out and had a really cool, like, iridescent, like, green on it.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, okay, I'll try
With
that.
that brown and that tan,
Yeah,
it
with the
just
brown,
popped it.
yeah. And then with the tans and the greens, I was like, okay, what about because she had a chest plate of armor on. I was like, what have I got to do with that? Well, Ronnie was there and she says, well, I really like this shade of red. And I looked at it and I went, okay, I like that shade of red too, but I think it's too vivid. So I was like, okay, let's try to mute that down a little bit. And so I ended up doing that. And then I got some like copper. There's like a copper, gold, metallic. She had a rod in her hand, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to do it that way. All in all, it was about 2.5, maybe 2 and 3/4 of an hour. And then I was like, okay, cool. I could spend all day on this thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like I've got to call it. I've got to call it because I've got other stuff to do. And so I then
Plus, at a certain time, you're just like, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to
I
keep questioning myself.
I'm
And then,
yeah. So I said that at about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And of course I'm like, okay, I've got to call it. And so of course now I'm like, okay, I got to touch up. And then I got to touch up. And then I got to touch. And then I was like, oh my God, I just lost another half hour. So I got it to where I was proud of what I did, in the environment that I did it at. I believe I could do better,
oh, yeah.
but I was also
But they
at
were
a
trying to even the playing
yeah,
field with
exactly,
everybody.
totally, yeah, totally. So if I was in my own setting with my own stuff and with an unlimited amount of time, obviously people could do better. But I was like, no, I actually really like what I did. And so I went up and I said, hey, I want to enter this in your mini painting competition. And so the guy I was talking to was like, yeah, here's the card you got to fill out and all of that. And so as I'm holding the mini and looking at the card, I felt really, really good because another guy working the booth came over and saw it, and he literally went, "Oh, dude!" And I grabbed my hand and like turn the mini a little bit. It was like, "Oh man, that is sick." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." You know?
Yeah, we like you as well as myself, and from any major creative, you suffer from the you are your own worst judge,
Oh yeah, of course.
and every painter suffers from that.
Yeah. hmm So yeah, so I submitted it, and I was like, okay, cool. And then we have to walk away now because it has to be submitted by 2. Judging is completed at
Was it Sunday or Saturday?
no, it was Saturday. It was completed. Judging was over at 4, and then they did announcements at 5. And so I was thinking, okay, cool. 5 o'clock came around, and I was like, okay. I want to head that direction. And I remember Ronnie needed to go to the bathroom. Cool. So went to the bathroom, and she walked in, and I was like, we're in the same wing of because I'm looking down the hall and I can see the army painter booth and I can see that whole area.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just walk down real quick. I'll just walk down. And so I walked down and I went to the rack where all the minis were, and I was looking, I'm like, where's my mini at? Well, right here, right at eye level, there was a shelf. And my mini was on top of it. Like, oh, it's right there. Okay, cool.
They moved it.
And so I remember having to get like up on the tips of my toes, and I went up and there was a little black like thing next. I was like, what the hell is that? And so I'm really stretched up, and it was a little black plaque that said Gary Con 18 first place. And I remember just dropping back down, and my breath just left me. And I was like, okay, I don't know what the next step is, but I have to go get Ronhee. And so I went down, and I was sitting there, and I was waiting outside the bathrooms, leaning against the wall. And I remember just sitting there, just doing this, kind of like getting that rock a little bit. I'm like, holy crap, I just won. I just freaking won. And so she comes out of the bathroom, and she's like, are you okay? And I went, yeah. I walked down to the mini painting booth. I got first place. And she freaked out. So we went down, and I went to the booth, and I'm like, hey, my mini was in the competition. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. What place did you get? I went, I got first. And they were like, oh, no way. And so they came around. It was okay. And they went, you see that guy down there? And he pointed a guy out in a Hawaiian shirt,
Yeah.
which I didn't know was a thing. Evidently is a
Yeah,
thing.
I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was as big of a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know it was as big as a thing.
I regret not buying one.
Me too, actually. And so I went down and I talked to him, and he was like, okay, cool, fantastic, congratulations. There's some paperwork we have to do real quick. It's like, okay. He took me back to the booth, and then so they needed to get my badge number, and all that, confirm I was who I was. And so I got my mini back. I got the little plaque that said Gary Con 18, first place winner. And then I got a paint. The grand prize was a paint set.
You have like $100 paint set.
It was a $100 paint set. It was the Army Painter Fanatics Most Wanted, and there's probably 20 some bottles of paint in there, a free mini, and then there's a paintbrush in there, which is really cool because I don't like using Citadel, which is Games Workshop's paint line. Between the two, I prefer Army Painter. If I can, I will use Chimera.
Yeah.
Since just because the pigment density is amazing, and it's a really good company. I like their product. But if I can't, or if I get frustrated trying to mix the color I need, I'll just break down and I'll go buy the Army Painter one. But if I can, I will use Chimera.
Basically, you prefer Chimera, but
I prefer Chimera,
but you have the experience with Army Painter.
But I have experience with Army Painter, yeah. And it wasn't until later that I realized that this was Gary Con 18. My mini was entry number 18.
Nice.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it until they gave me my registration card back, and it was handwritten on there number 18. I was like, I'm entry number 18. And it's GaryCon 18. That's crazy. So next year, if they do it again, I gotta be entry number 19. So no, that was the highlight of the convention for me. Meeting Keith Baker and winning the paint and take mini competition.
Probably the highlights, honestly, for me was throughout the entire con was honestly meeting Michael the Weather Dragon. First off, I have a small list. Getting to meet Dungeons and Detonations, who actually invited me to lunch and was very courteous and actually paid for my lunch.
Yeah, we went to go to lunch, and I sent this guy a text message. Hey, we're all getting together for lunch. You want to meet up? Oh, sorry, I'm getting taken out to lunch by another couple of creators. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, and
We
then
ended up eating the same place.
I went and sat with you guys and had some of the soup and all that, and that was good. But it's also just like meeting Mike Merles, who was, the head of fourth and fifth edition, having a small conversation with him. The unexpected thing with him that caught me off guard, and just like you could tell that he's a more personable person and all that, is as I'm kind of flashing my phone open to can I get a selfie with you, and we're here in the lobby, and that would save me, can I get a selfie with you at your sign-in thing tomorrow because I don't have the book, is that because I have my daughter on my wallpaper, he made me actually go back to the wallpaper and was that your daughter, and then started asking questions about her and all that because he has kids. So it just kind of, he's one of those people that are just that type of mentality of like being personable and all that.
Yep.
And then, we shared those stories of being a parent for a little bit and then snapped a photo together. And then
That's cool.
The other one was honestly besides getting to play with you guys and going to Mars Cheese Castle and Bray Road, because we went werewolf hunting one night.
Ronnie and I, we love Expedition X. And it was maybe a week before we left to leave for GaryCon. And we watched a rerun, and it was the Beast of Bray Road. And so we're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden they said, with Wisconsin, and both her and I, our ears perked up. We went, Wisconsin? We're going to be in Wisconsin. And so they started talking.
How far away is that?
Yeah, and they said, oh yeah, we're going to be in Elkhorn, Wisconsin on Brea Road, and we're in. At the exact same, we both grabbed our phone and went Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Which we knew, looking at the B&Bs, that was a suburb, technically, or not a suburb, but it was a surrounding area.
Yeah, and so it was maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes from our B&B, and we're like, oh, we gotta go. And so that was one of the things that we did, is that we went out and we took pictures of us underneath the sign of Bray Road, and then we went up and down that stretch. We went to the terminus of Bray Road, and then we came back.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, that's cool. We did it. That's awesome. And then Mars Cheese Castle, that was really cool. I didn't even know they had a cheese castle, but you pointed that out.
Yeah. The only thing that we did not do there, because everybody got headed out to the car because they kept having stomach problems, was we didn't all sit, there was thrones there you could sit in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
the other one was just like Stefan Corny's party, and then getting to meet people, and then me and him had a moment.
Elbows with some big wigs.
Yeah, and then me and him, because I knew Tim Kask before he died from doing the interview, and me and him interacted on Facebook over Messenger probably about 2 weeks up to his death, because I did not realize he didn't let anyone know that he was sick, other than maybe a couple of people, obviously.
Yeah, close family and stuff.
But he also, from my understanding, it sounded like he got sick and then just didn't. It finally caught up and couldn't get over it. But just like talking to him, and then actually between me and Stefan, just because Stefan and him were very close friends, and like, hey, this one's for Tim Kask, and we toasted to him.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, then so Nate was making fun of me because I met Keith Baker and got him to sign my Eberron book.
That was a small subplot.
Yeah, and just me not thinking of it, I didn't get a selfie with him, but I did ask him to come on the podcast.
Yes.
I said, hey, if we would love to have you on. And he said he's got a future project in the works, and that he would love to, come on the podcast to talk about, I would love to have you, yada, yada, yada. So later on, Nate is at this party.
Well, Friday night, when did we play? It was Thursday night, actually.
Was it Thursday?
You went and met Keith Baker on Thursday.
Yes, I met him on Thursday.
And
Yep.
then Thursday night we were playing Shadow Dark with those people.
Mm-hmm,
And then he
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm.
like pops in behind us, and then I look at him. I'm like, "Oh And then
That's Keith
that
Baker.
I literally said this audibly out loud to him. I'm like, "Oh shit, you're Keith Baker."
Yeah.
He
Oh
goes,
shit.
and then he's like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah.
And
Last
then
I
I
checked.
stood up and I got up from my table and I shook his hand. And he goes, "Oh, what's?" And I think his catchphrase to a couple people was like, "Oh, what's your story?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because he's probably
What's your story? Yep.
just because he has so many people probably approaching him because of who he is.
Yeah.
And then I got a selfie with him, and then it's like, "Hey, do you?" I am so and so, and I gave my spiel of like, "Hey, I'm this
The elevator
podcast."
pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And he gave me his email. And because I knew that you got like a little starstruck and forgot to ask for a
I
selfie,
did. Yeah, I did.
I sent you the selfie. I'm like, "Hey, I got the selfie, and I got his with him." And then, oh, hey, I also got his email. He said he's more than willing to come on the podcast,
Yeah. Hey, it happens.
which we have over here on my printer with a couple of others of people that I'm kind of have lined up of who I want to reach out to next.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, it was a really good.
And he is
just
probably one of
amazing people.
one of the first people.
Yes. Oh my god. And I swear to God, if you have him on the podcast and I'm not there, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
Oh no, I'll give you the date and time and like, hey, call in.
Yeah. I'm just gonna not be there. Yeah. I'm just not gonna go to work. Yeah. But no, it was that was awesome. Yeah. It was a good experience. You know, it was really cool. The crazy thing about GaryCon is that you told me to expect like big names there. I was blown away by how many big names were actually there.
And just accessible.
And they were just walking down the hallway. Like I was walking down the hallway and I just happened to look up and here's Luke Gygax just walking in the hall talking with his wife.
Did you actually get a chance to actually talk with him? Or?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I did. And I walked by and I just went, "Oh, hey." And he looked up and for that split second you can tell it was that like, "Hey, random person 125 that I've seen this past second." You know, it was that. But for a second, that went away to genuine recognition. And he was, "Hey," like, "Hey, how's it going?" And we just, we just kind of like chatted for like a second because we were both going somewhere. Yeah. But it was the last day that I actually had a good like 15-minute conversation with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing the signing table and I got a little bit of a conversation with him and his wife. And I talked to them probably about 4 or 5 times throughout the weekend, but he was always surrounded by people and they're always coming to him about questions and all that sort of stuff. So after about the 3rd or 4th time, it's like, "Hey, I really want a picture with him, not at a signing table."
Yeah.
So I literally just waited in this circle of people asking him questions. And then he was texting somebody.
Just let it go. Yeah.
He was texting somebody because somebody sent him a text that he needed to answer. And he's one of those people that cannot do anything but text the person.
Yeah, he was, "Hold on."
Yeah. And his wife was trying to talk to him.
Oh.
And he just like was full.
Yeah, he was locked in. Yeah.
And she like looked at me. She's like, "When he gets done texting, just tell him I went here." And then will do. He seems like he's in the zone.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and his wife, awesome person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was amazing. Because she even chimed in a little bit on one of the panels that we were at that he was there, and she said a couple of it wasn't anything like groundbreaking or anything, but just of like how much work that Dan Ayub and then that Lou Gygax were doing behind the scenes of like going and having dinners together and business meetings and putting the effort in, which is like, that's cool to hear.
It is very cool to hear.
Yeah.
And then like one of our more recent episodes was the Wizards, or is going to be the Wizards episode of us just kind of talking about that.
Yeah, we filmed that.
That was the big news there. And for anyone that wants to check out the press conference that I was part of, the first one I was a part of, but I did not realize we could actually bring recording equipment into, because I was not aware. It was the big Dan Ayub announcement as well, because I thought we were just sitting there taken the announcement, I wasn't fully aware that you could actually bring in recording equipment and
And
listen.
you look around, everyone's got like telephoto lenses. Like, oh, jeez.
And so I didn't bring my recording equipment. And so the second time around, I was just like, I just literally popped out my phone and then recorded it, uploaded it to YouTube to download onto my laptop and fidget with it on my editing audio
You
software.
had to piggyback it off of YouTube to get it to.
Because I couldn't transfer it.
It was too big. Yeah,
It was too big. It was a hour file. It was like 10 gigabytes with the resolution I chose. But or not, yeah. She was amazing.
Yeah,
they were amazing. They were down to earth. They actually both follow me on Instagram now, and yeah, nothing but like the best thoughts. And I really do hope I get to go back next year. I would actually choose it over Gen Con, I think.
Hands down, hands down.
And from someone that you've been to Gen Con way back, I'd go to Gen Con, I think, but I don't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did Gary Con. But I do enjoy the personability.
I would go back, like I said a couple of times, earlier. I would go back to Gen Con, but only as a guest or like a booth person. I don't know if I would go back as a general attendee. Nothing against Gen Con. It's just, it's huge. That's it,
One final question, then we'll wrap it up. This is something I actually put a lot into, and I actually already commented it when we were at the B&B. Is that after doing this trip, after doing this con, and getting to meet who we did and to listen to who we did and all this, does this trip change how you look at the hobby at all?
Yes, actually it does. It's one of those things that reminds me that no matter how much capitalism or the corporate world wants to get its tendrils into everything, when it comes to this hobby, that is only as powerful as we want it to be. Meeting, the Stephen Picornis and the Keith Bakers and Luke Gygax, and how down to earth and how personable they are, even though they are massive names
in our community.
In the community, they're still willing just to sit down with nobodies and bond over a rolling dice, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part. Yes, I'm ecstatic that Luke Gygax and Wizard of the Coast are going to be making Melf's Guide to Greyhawk. That's fantastic. But
it didn't make my. It was an amazing announcement, but it did not make my con.
Yeah, but that could have been done by email, and I still have been like, and I would have gotten the exact same reaction. It's not the same reaction as me walking down the hallway and here's Dan Ayub, and I go, "Hey, would it be cool to get a selfie?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure thing, man." And I go up and I just go, and and just be able to
I was there
with him for like 20 seconds, while he's getting.
And then I was there. We were going to the vendor hall, and I'd already talked to him a little bit. For anyone that doesn't know, and I'll be announcing and talking a little bit more in depth on our Wizards episode of I did talk to Dan Ayub. We are exchanging information and in talks to hopefully have him come on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I do have
busy guy.
Busy guy. I have nothing but respect for him. I'm not
hopeful.
And I'll explain more in depth on the Wizards episode of I don't have high expectations off Wizards. But I do believe in him. And that's what I'll leave it at. Without going into the full spiel of another episode.
Because there's an episode all about that, so yeah. But yeah, I hope he does and gets to do what he wants to do, because he's saying some good things.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for watching. For anyone that's got to this point in the podcast, I forgot more than once to mention, check out our sponsors, check out those affiliate codes, support this podcast, like, comment, subscribe about anything you disagree with, agree with, or anything, because we need to boost that engagement up.
Have you been to GaryCon? What was your first experience like? Because this was my first GaryCon. And
same. Yeah. I want to hear about your experiences at GaryCon. Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.